Welcome to Confessions by Banana Ketchup. The Haunting of Cobblestone Square. Before we begin, you must understand that everything you will read is absolutely true, and the events continue to this day. It was last summer, my girlfriend, now wife, and I finally made the big decision to move in together. Cobblestone Square is a situation of apartment complex surrounding a center park. After living in another apartment for 2 years, I learned a bigger apartment was opening up on the other side of the complex. We needed bigger space because my wife had 2 children from a previous marriage. After a rushed inspection, we were happy to move in as June started. The months passed by and the days grew shorter and colder. Autumn was drawing close, and with it, that's when the trouble began. In all the stories and movies, it starts out small. Things moving from place to place, lights being left on, etc. All chalked up to forgetfulness. This was true in our case, and we didn't think much of it. It only started to escalate with the children. Our apartment is set up with 2 bedrooms and bath on the opposite end of each other. In our bedroom, we have our own private bathroom, and next to the kids' room is a small hallway leading to their own bathroom. We would give them baths there and potty train. And almost as if flicking a switch, when the autumn months came, our youngest, a 2-year-old girl, would absolutely hate going in that bathroom. At the mere mention of bath time, she would go into hysterics, or on good days, she would sit in the tub, and in the process of bathing, she would look past myself or my wife and start screaming and crying. Oftentimes, something would catch her eye in the mirror, and she would also start crying like mad. The most unsettling part would be that as soon as we took her out of the bathroom, she would stop and act like nothing happened. Our son, who was 4 at the time, also would run up to us and say that he would hear a voice saying "uppy," which is a common saying among the children when they wanted to be held. We asked if it was his sister, and he would profusely say it wasn't her, but he did say it sounded like a kid. This happened a few times. With my wife being separated from her first husband and splitting custody, we would have the children come live with us every other week. On the weeks that the children would go stay with their dad, the activity would seem to die down. But that didn't mean it wouldn't happen. I asked my wife what she remembered from last year, and she recounted a time when we didn't have the children and she was cleaning the house. She noticed the kids' door was open. We usually keep it closed, but thought that maybe I went into their room for something. Checking to see if I was inside and seeing I wasn't, she closed the door and didn't think much of it. It wasn't until a while later that she went to use the kids' bathroom and saw that the door was open again. She found me in our room and asked if I had opened it, and I said I didn't. With more incidents of lights being found on and doors opening, it all came to a head near the end of October, when I was washing dishes in the kitchen. Above the sink, facing the living room, is a small window that allows someone in the kitchen to look out into the dining room and living room, and additionally the back door, which is a sliding glass door. Important detail. After the kids had been put to bed and were asleep, my wife and I set about our nightly duties of chores to finish before the next day started. As I was washing dishes, I looked up from the sink and saw in the glass of the sliding glass door a reflection of a large shadow in the hallway to the kids' bathroom. It quickly entered the bathroom, and I immediately walked over, turning on the light and seeing nothing there. I went to my bedroom where my wife was vacuuming, and I asked her if she by chance went into the kids' bathroom for whatever reason. I wasn't surprised by her response when she said no, and I told her what I saw. It was after this event, and subsequently Halloween, that all the activity seemed to stop. Months passed by again and jumped to 2020, August. As soon as the activity started again, I started to keep a journal of all the findings. That way, there was a record. On August 10th, I went out to the bathroom, in the kids' bathroom, before going to bed, and heard a small child giggle. Both children were fast asleep. August 11th, my wife was bathing our daughter, and in the first time in a year, our little girl started to shriek in fear until she was out of the bathroom. August 13th, while getting ready for bed, our son knocked on our door. I'm always the one to answer, and he told me that he was afraid. He wouldn't elaborate on what, but when I laid him down in his bed, he begged for the closet to be closed. The closet has never been a problem, and a few nights after this, we returned it to being open, and haven't experienced something like this again. August 15th, my wife and I had an argument, and I went out to the couch to sleep for the night. As I was tossing and turning, I heard a child's voice in the night say, "Uh-huh," as if answering a question. I forced myself to go to sleep. Both myself and my wife have caught our son speaking to himself as well. My wife told me that once she heard him saying, "Oh, stop it, you're hurting me." And when she went to go check on him, he was in the hallway by the kids' bathroom, holding his arm. During the daytime, the kids were playing and both me and my wife were doing our own thing. As I was sitting on the couch, our son runs behind the couch, stops, and says, "And how would you do that? Out of the blue?" I turned to him and asked him who he's talking to, and after a moment's hesitation, he says nobody. I told him I heard him saying something, and he then insisted he didn't say anything. One occasion, my wife was sleeping on the couch, and in the middle of the night, heard a man's whisper say, "Don't get up," to which she promptly obeyed. It was the night after that I woke up from my sleep in bed to see a shadow shape standing over me with piercing red eyes. I felt as if it was going to hurt me. My wife and I have naturally begun our interest in the spiritual world. We began researching and looking for ways to go about this. We've purchased an Ouija board with no results, and from a medium, a supposedly haunted ring. If our apartment was going to be haunted, we wanted to know by who and with what intentions. It seems as if our mail order ghost has already made their home, as one morning our front door was unlocked and slightly ajar. Nothing stolen. Tonight, as I write this, my wife and I were watching TV on the couch and decided to call it a night. But as we went to our bedroom, I noticed a low scratching sound coming from the record player. I opened it up and saw that the turntable was moving as the needle was off its holder, turning the record player on. I replaced the needle and tried knocking the player a few times to see if it could have been easily bumped and knocked off. But no, the only way to move that needle was to pick it up with your fingers and set it down. I was reminded of one other time that this happened, long before we bought any haunted items. I'm thoroughly convinced my apartment is haunted. People die in them way too often to think it's not a possibility. And if nobody died here, the cemetery across the road definitely doesn't bring me any comfort. As I write this, I can say that two distinct entities can be somewhat accounted for. A small child ghost and something else. Or maybe something that wants to be viewed as a child. But let's think happy thoughts. We still live here to this day, and if any new events happen, I can be sure to add them to the comments. Autumn is just beginning, and that's when things seem to really get interesting around here. TLDR. After moving into an apartment with wife and kids, soon paranormal activity acts up around the fall season and ends at Halloween. only for the activity to start again a year later and continues to this day. Thank you, pacmanschulte, the author. Thank you for watching. What would you do? Would you move or continue living in that apartment? Let me know what you think down below in the comments. See you again in my next video, and until then, please be safe.